Today we're talking about common denominators. So we're starting with, it says, this is lesson 6.4. It says, Martin has two rectangles that are the same size. One rectangle is cut into half-size parts. The other rectangle is cut into third-size parts. He wants to cut the rectangles so they have the same size parts. How can he cut each rectangle? It says a common denominator is a common multiple of the denominators of two or more fractions. Fractions with common denominators represent wholes cut into the same number of parts. Okay? So that sounds confusing, but as we go through today, I'm going to explain it. Okay.
And then Peterson, what is it on my computer?
What?
Do I have it on my computer?
I don't know what you're asking, honey.
Does she have the paper?
You should have this paper that your aunt picked up. It's not on the computer. It's paper copy. It's lesson 6.4. And it's got, you'll see, it looks like this. It's got a piece of paper that looks like that and that on it.
Okay.
Did you find it? Okay. Okay. Okay, so when you've got a paper that's cut in half and cut in thirds, what could you do? What are you doing? So I guess you're not going to be able to do this since you're...
Look at this, Miss Peterson.
What, Julie?
Is it this?
Yep, that's it. Okay. So here's what you can do. You can put one on top of the other, and then you can draw a line. So the one that has 3 lines on it, you can set it on top of the other one. That's why we drew with marker and draw that line down the middle. And now how many sections do you have? 6. And the other one you can put on top. So you can draw the 2 horizontal lines. And now both of them are cut into 6 pieces. Okay? You gotta put your other one underneath it. That tells you where to draw your line. See? Okay. All right, so that just shows you how common denominators work. Now I'm going to show you how you can get a common denominator without a piece of paper, because you don't usually have 2 pieces of paper that you can fold up and figure it out. So watch what you do. You ready? This is how you do it. To get a common denominator for 1/2 and 1/3, put your papers down and watch this. You guys are good. You are going to multiply by the other fraction's denominator.
Okay.
So we're going to take 1/2. We've got 1/2 and 1/3, right? I'm going to do the 3 in red. Still 1/3, right? And I'm going to do the 2 in blue, so you guys can see this. So we have 1/2 and 1/3, right? We're going to take the 1/2, guys, and multiply it by 3/3. 1/2 times 3/3. Where did I get that 3 from? Right down here, the other fraction. Then we're going to take 1/3 and multiply it by the other fraction's denominator, 2/2. Where'd I get the 2? Cash. What are you doing? Why don't you go get a regular pencil and put that up?
Because I just noticed when your nails are on.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so then we go 1 times 3 is what?
3.
2 times 3 is what? 6. 1 times 2 is what?
2.
3 times 2 is?
6.
So we turned 1/2 into 3/6. And we turned 1/3 into 2/6. Do we have 2 fractions with the same bottom number now?
Yes.
So now we could add them together, couldn't we? If we had 3/6 plus 2/6, we could add those together, couldn't we? And you would get
5/6.
5/6. But when we had them like this, we couldn't add those. So 3/6 is equivalent to 1/2 and 2/6 is equivalent to 1/3. And we got those by multiplying by the other fractions denominator on top and bottom. You with me? How many pieces did we end up with?
6. 6.
See how that works? So, okay. So down here we're going to write 6.
Miss Peterson,
Yes.
I can't see the TV.
Okay, you're just going to have to do your best, honey, because there's nothing I can do about it. Okay? I just wrote 6 and 6 on the bottom 2 spots. Okay. Turn the page. After you write 6 and 6 at the bottom, turn the page. Oh, Waylon, I'm sorry. You should have told me that a long time ago.
You were saying it a lot.
Well, clearly I didn't hear him, right? Did I look like I heard him? Alright, Waylon, there's going to be 4 pages printed out here in just a minute. So once 4 pages print, you can grab it off my printer. Okay. On the next page it says write 4/5 and 1/2 as a pair of fractions with common denominators. So we're starting with 4/5 size pieces, like right here, 4/5 and 1/2. And they want us to turn those into fractions that have the same bottom number. So another way you can do it is find a common multiple of the denominator. Denominator, remember, is the bottom number, right? Denominator begins with D, down. Has it printed all 4 of them? Okay. Let me staple them for you. So, okay. So our 2 denominators are 5 and 2, right? 5 on bottom and 2 on bottom. Okay? And let's list the multiples of 5. They started us out 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And multiples of 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, now find the common multiple. What number appears in both lists?
10.
Got it. 10 and 10. 10 is going to be our new multiple. So So we're going to multiply 4/5 times a new fraction that gives us a 10 on the bottom. And we're going to multiply 1/2 times something that gives us 10 on the bottom. What do you multiply 5 times to get 10, Ella?
2.
And if you do it to the bottom?
Do it to the side.
So what is 4 times 2?
8.
8. And what do we multiply 2 times to get 10?
5.
Ethan?
5.
And if you do it to the bottom?
You do it to the top.
1 times 5 is?
5. 5.
Is 5/10 the same as half?
Yes.
You got a pizza and it's got 10 slices and you eat 5. Did you eat half the pizza?
Yes.
Yep. So, do we now have 2 new fractions that have the same denominator?
Yes.
Have a common denominator. And 8/10 is equivalent to 4/5, isn't it?
Yes.
And 1/2 is the same as 5/10. So what we did here is multiply by the other fraction's denominator. So we multiplied 4/5 times 2/2 and got 8/10. And we multiplied 1/2 times 5/5 and got 5/10. So that says, so you can rewrite or write 4/5 and 1/2 as 8/10 and 5/10. Using multiples the way they did on this one is one way to do it. I just think that it's easier to say multiply by the other fraction's denominator. Every time you want a common denominator, then multiply by the other fraction's denominator and you'll get it. Are 4/5 and 1/2 equivalent? Is 4/5 equivalent to 1/2? No, because how many tenths is 4/5?
1.
How many tenths is 4/5?
8.
8 tenths. And how many tenths is 1/2?
5.
5. And 8 is not the same as 5. So, here's what you're going to write down. There's a lot to write on this one. No, because 4/5 equals 8/10 and 1/2 equals 5/10. 8/10 is not equivalent to 5/10, so 4/5 is not equivalent to 1/2. Julie, can you see that well enough to write it?
No, I can't. It's too blurry for me.
Try it now so you don't have to write all that when you come back.
Okay.
It says no because 4/5 equals 8/10. We found out that 4/5 equals 8/10 and 1/2 equals 5/10. Since 8/10 is not equal to 5/10, then 4/5 is not equal to 1/2. Since these guys are not equivalent, these guys are not equivalent.
Okay.
Then it says describe another way you could tell whether 4/5 and 1/2 are equivalent. You could use a model.
Miss Peterson,
Yes.
there's a light shining in the board I can't see.
I turn off the lights if it'll help. I think it'll make it worse, but we'll see.
Okay.
That make it better or worse?
Worse.
Well, Brinley, will you hit the lights for me?
Yes.
Julie, it just says you could use a model. I moved it up there. Okay.
Thanks.
On the next one it says find a common denominator for 1/3 and 1/12 by dividing each whole into the same number of equal parts. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take 1/3. Okay, if you look at this one, you will see that, let me do purple here. You will see that both of these have a line here and a line here, right? Both have that line and that line. So what's missing on our first model is these 3 vertical lines. So that's what we need to draw on our first model. Now how many pieces did we split? Oh, you need 3 vertical lines, not just 2. So how many sections did we split our model into, Jace?
9.
No, count them again. You only did 2 vertical lines instead of 3.
12.
Dakota?
12.
Yeah. Okay. So our common denominator becomes 12. So we started with 1/3 and 1/12, and we decided to use the denominator 12. So what do you multiply 3 times to get a 12 on the bottom?
4.
4, and if you do it to the bottom?
You do it to the top.
And we don't have to do anything to this guy because he's already got 12, doesn't he? So 12 and 12. So 1/3 is equivalent to 4 12 shaded. Do you see how it's got 4 sections out of 12 shaded? So you guys know when we learn to multiply, we learned 3 different ways to do it, right? We learned area model, partial products, and regrouping, right?
Yes.
There is more than one way to find common denominators. Here is, I think the easiest is to multiply by the other fraction's denominator. But there's other ways to do it, which is why we only changed one, or did something to one of the fractions. Because if you have 1/4 and 3/8 that you're trying to compare, is there something that you can do to 4 to turn it into an 8?
Yes. Multiply it by 2.
And if you do it to the bottom,
You do it to the top.
so that's 2/8. And then we don't have to do anything to this guy, right?
That has an 8 at the bottom.
Because he's already got an 8 at the bottom.
Yeah.
You could, though, multiply by the other fraction's denominator and say 1/4 times 8/8 gives you 8/30 seconds, and 3/8 times 4/4 gives you 12/30 seconds. Okay, I think that's the easiest way to do it, but it's just to have a way that always works. But if you're good at multiplying and you look at 4 and 8 and say, hey, to get from 4 to 8, all I have to do is times by 2, you can just change this one, and then you'll have 2 fractions with the same bottom number. You with me? Okay. All right, so now we're going to do some of these. So turn to the third page in your packet. And we're going to do some, and then I'm going to have you do some, and then we'll do our assignment. 1/2 and 1/4. Okay. We can take, there's two different ways to do this. So I'm going to do one on here and say, is there something that we can do to this 2 to get it to be a 4? Landon?
2 times 2.
We can multiply it by 2, and if we do that to the bottom, we do it to the top. So 2/4 and 1/4. Do we have two fractions that have the same bottom number? Yep. Or you can do it like this. 1/2 times 4/4 and 1/4 times 2/2. And get 2/8 and 4/8. Either way will work. Ella? Huh? Okay. Have a seat, Jace, Dakota. Okay. 3/4 and 5/8. Okay, think about 4 and 8. Is there something, Owen, is there something you can do to 4 to turn it into an 8? Is there something you can multiply 4 times to get 8? 4 times 2, and if we do it to the bottom? So we can do 3/4 times 2/2 gives us 6/8, right? And then we've got 5/8. So 5/8 and 6/8. Or you can multiply 3/4 times 8/8 and 5/8 times 4/4 and get 24/48 and 32, sorry. Wait, that's not right. 24/32 and 20/32. Either one would work. Either the one that I wrote on the whiteboard or the one I'm writing on the TV. Okay, 1/3 and 1/4. So there's nothing that you could multiply 3 times to get 4, right? So this would be one we need to do. There's just one way we're going to do it. 1/3 times 4/4 and 1/4 times 3/3. And that gives us 4/12 and 3/12. And then 4/12 and 5/8. 4/12 and 5/8. What would we multiply 4/12 times? What would we multiply 4/12 times, Jace?
2.
Shelby? 8/8. Good girl. We multiply by the other fraction's denominator. 8/8. What would we multiply 5/8 times? Dakota?
1.
No, there's no 1 in this problem. Zing?
12.
12/12. Good job. Do you guys see what I'm doing?
Yes.
Dakota, what I'm doing? So I'm taking my first fraction, 4/12, right? I'm multiplying it by the other fraction's denominator. 8 over 8. Then I'm taking 5/8 and multiplying it by the first fraction's denominator. Does that make sense? So, 4 times 8 is 32. 12 times 8 is 96. 5 times 12 is 60. 8 times 12 is 96. So do we now have two fractions that have the same bottom number?
Yes.
Yes. And as long as you multiply the top and bottom by the same thing, the answer you get is equivalent to your original fraction. Okay. So you guys, give me a thumbs up if you understand what to do, thumbs down if you're confused. If you're confused, I need to know because I'm getting ready to turn you loose on your own. So, okay. Don't look around at other people. I need to know what you know, not what other people know. Okay? All right, so here's what you're going to do. I'm going to give you one more example up here. Okay, you guys ready?
Yep.
What's up here? 3/7 and 4/9. Okay? I have two fractions there, right? 3/7 and 4/9. And I want to find a common denominator. Watch what I do. I'm going to take 3/7. Julie, mute your mic for me, please. I'm going to take 3/7 and multiply by this guy, 9 over 9. So times 9 over 9. Then I'm going to take 4/9 and multiply times this guy, 7 over 7. That's it. Cash, are you ready to come up and show the class how to do it? Then maybe you shouldn't be staring at your hand while I'm doing this and poking your hand with the pencil. Okay? Then to multiply, you go straight across. 3 times 9 is 27. 7 times 9 is 63.